Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show, Wednesday edition here of the game week. Drinksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. It's the original First Friday, Schlegs. I mean, it's always a great time to get back to your hometown or wherever. If you're still young, you go out, you get overserved, and then the best part is battling that next day to see how much food you can eat despite a pretty significant hangover. So I know that's exciting for everybody out there, but we got a huge show for you planned today. Going to be a big one. We've got John Jansen coming up here after this. We got it with our guy AJ. He is the voice of the Michigan Wolverines. Excited to have him on with what he's able to get done. And then we've got our guy AJ Hawk. So big Ohio State Michigan show. We're going to start off. Welcome our guy, Mr. Aaron James Hawk. AJ, it's been rumored that you're going to be heading down to the game this weekend. There'll be a Hawk sighting on campus.
Yeah, I plan on heading down. I mean, how would I can't miss it, and it's going to be there. You go, Schlegs. I appreciate the hot call.
It's not good. Exactly. You're bringing all the kids. Like, what's going to be the setup for the experience?
We haven't exactly figured all that out. I'm bringing at least my two oldest kids. The youngest ones, we're going to have to break their heart probably, but we're still working through that. So I don't really know what we're
bump those kids.
Well, I mean,
hey, tunnel of pride.
You tunnel of pride. Really going to appreciate it? Probably not. So I told Courtney, I was like, take the older ones. If they don't want to appreciate it, don't go. I'm like, this is a big ticket. Hopefully going to be a celebration of a day. And how excited are you for this game? Because I know you don't get to get down to very many.
Oh, I'm pumped, man. I mean, I think leading up to Indiana last week, like you could feel it. You could feel like this is when it all matters. And you know, the boys went out there and they took care of business and they did what they were supposed to do against a good Indiana team. So yeah, I mean, it's here. It's time. It's time to go. And obviously Thanksgiving tomorrow, but everyone's really looking forward to Saturday, and it's going to be nice and cold as well. Like that's how a Michigan game should be. So I can't wait, man. It's going to be awesome.
I think one thing that we can all take away from this, talking about kids going to the game, is that you should make them earn it. You know, like yeah, are they going to appreciate it or not? But how much do they really want it? Because when you earn it, right, that has no age limit. Whether you're, you know, an 18-year-old kid living in a house or you're a 12-year-old, it doesn't matter. Like, let's fight for it to earn those tickets to go watch the game, because it's going to happen. Tell everybody about this game for you, AJ, like being in it. What were some of the key things or the takeaways that you had from it that you felt like because we did these things, we were able to win the game?
Man, that's a good question. I think first off, I know Schlegs, obviously you coming from Texas and from the Air Force, I don't know what you're like, how much you knew about the whole rivalry before you got to Ohio State. I definitely knew. Like we had growing up in elementary school, we'd have like Monday would be a certain theme for the Michigan week, and Tuesday and Wednesday, like you had certain themes leading up to the game. But I don't think until I got there and I got to experience it, I didn't know all that goes into it and everything about it. Coach Tressel did an awesome job, I think, educating me and whoever else needed it. But like I realized real quick how big of a deal it was. And I mean, for Bobby and I, we go out there our freshman year. We went, you know, we beat Michigan, 14-9 at home. Everyone rushed the field. We're going to the national championship. Like that's a heck of a way to start off this rivalry game. And the game was close back and forth. It was a nice, super cold day, I remember as well. Like that's how I got to my start in the whole rivalry. So I was very lucky. But I think the biggest thing for us, like we had confidence going in every time. Even our sophomore year, we went there and got beat by a really good Michigan team. Like it still bothers me, but I still feel like every time we step on the field with them, we felt like we were going to win. And that's, I think the Bucks know that. The guys know, like, hey, let's just do what got us here, not put too much on it, not make too big of a deal out of it, and just realize that, hey, this is what we are destined to do.
So, you know, one of the things Tress talked about yesterday with Schlegs and I, and he was awesome because he accused us of not listening some of the time or most of the time, not all of the time, because I did reference the superior special units, relentless defense, and mistake-free opportunistic offense. So after 4 years of that getting hammered in for about 50 games, I think it landed. But he talked about the emotional edge in this game. And that's why it's hard to get on these big runs where you are winning 3, 4, 5 in a row. Ohio State had a very unique situation where they're able to get on that. But you know, he goes, because when you lose, it builds up all year. You lose again, it continues to build. He goes, the team with the emotional edge usually finds a way to win the game. When you think about that, AJ, what does that emotional edge mean to you as you kind of prepare throughout the week?
I think it's huge. It gives you like that laser focus where you don't have to talk about it. We know like big games are usually the weeks when you kind of have your crisp practices, the coach isn't restarting drills, and everyone kind of has a quiet confidence about them. And I feel like that's how we always had going into it. And as each day got closer and closer to the game, like, Tuesday, okay, yeah, we're locked in, we're focused, we're ready to go. Wednesday, even more. Thursday, by Friday, you're like, all right, let's go. We are ready to play right now. And I think that's what it does. It gives you like it forces you to have this laser focus because everybody understands what's on the line, and like, hey, this is an awesome opportunity we have in front of us. Whatever side you're on, if you're the favorite, you're the underdog, whatever it is, like it's a huge opportunity for you.
Tell everybody a little bit about the physicality of this game and how it's different. I mean, it's one of those ones we always talk about. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to stop the run. You can't turn the ball over. And again, Tress going through like all the years of this, right? Just the physicality of this game, regardless of the records, like what did it feel like?
It's great. Like, honestly, there's a different feel to it for sure. And I think it's just, you kind of understand it in pregame when you get out there, whether it was at home or on the road against Michigan. You kind of like it has a different feel to it. And, like some of our guys might be going back and forth as you're jogging by in warm-ups or something. They're yelling little things back and forth to each other. I think it's great to have like an old school rivalry where people don't like each other. And it's a known thing. Like, hey, they realize, hey, we don't like you. We don't like you guys either. Great. We may go and play together in the NFL on the same team. We'll be cool then, but we're not cool today. Like, that's how it works. And I think the coaches feel that. The fans definitely feel that. And it's just awesome. It's a cool thing because you get out there and it's sometimes not even like the huge, big collisions that the crowd will ooh and ah over. It's not as much that. It's just like every single play, dudes playing through the whistle, trying to finish guys, trying to get you on, trying to knock you down, trying to get like the edge and make sure like you realize, hey, no, you didn't fall forward, buddy. Like you're falling backwards every single time you're carrying the ball. Like that's what you want to set the tone early.
I mean, the people know it, Age. It's been your calling card, elite dude finisher, especially in big games, especially
so good.
No one does it quite like the Hawkster. A guy who knew how to finish off his career, but always get us started, though. Also knew how to get you started there at the beginning of the week. Earl Bruce, he used to come in and talk to us, and this is some of the things that Tress would do. And, it's a little bit unique and things have changed, but they always try to bring in former players, coaches to give them that perspective for guys who maybe didn't know. And Age, we grew up in Ohio, but I mean, I had no idea like what Earl Bruce was all about with regard to the Michigan game. Give us some little nuggets from some of the best stuff that you remember from Earl.
I mean, Earl Bruce, he's one of one. There's never been anyone like him. But my earliest memories of him, seeing him in person, was just how juiced he was, how passionate he was about Ohio State football. Especially, you talk Ohio State, Michigan, when he would get up in front of the team room, like his eyes would be bulging out of his head, and he's just going up and down the line, making eye contact with every single player, pointing you out, talking about things that happened back when he was coaching, what's going to happen when you guys get out there on the field with these dudes. And like, the old cliche, like you'd run through a brick wall after hearing that. Every time Earl Bruce was around, it was like he there was never any on or off for him. It was always on. He only knew one speed, and he was that way all the time. And he definitely nailed it. He nailed it home right away. Like you knew, like, okay, I get it. This is a way of life. This is not just a game. Like this is who we are.
Give us your favorite the game memory in the 4 years that you had at Ohio State.
Oh boy. Well, our junior year, we won a game we were not supposed to win. I found out yesterday they were ranked 7. We were unranked. I know we had 4 losses going in. Bobby had
4. Dude,
yeah,
that's
good. Brutal. Yeah, and they were legit, and we kind of obviously put a big damper on their season, and I think that kind of springboarded us into the spring and winter workouts, all of that stuff. I remember Bob had a sweet block on Chad Henne in that game. It was awesome on an interception return. One of my favorite moments looking at Bob afterwards. Bob, why'd you cut him? He's like, he's a big dude. Like I'm like, yeah, you're all right. That is a big dude. But so many great moments. I mean, going there, our senior year, obviously, with Bobby getting hurt so early and on the sidelines on crutches, James Laurinaitis steps in and does very well. Like that whole game front to back was such a roller coaster. And the fact how, Troy completing that ball to Gonzo down there was just an awesome moment watching from the sidelines. And I see the clip replayed over this last week as well. So it's hard to like pick one thing, just everything surrounding it. It was great. Like the bus ride was there. Obviously post game in the locker room, Eddie George is there with us our senior year. That was just everything about it. Even the Michigan's tunnel, how you come out the same tunnel, which doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you not going to get in fights every game? Everything about it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a legendary experience. If I were to ask you, like, going 3-1 against Michigan, obviously it's something that we grew up, AJ. You know, you looked at it, the decade of the 90s, obviously not that level of success. Tress flips that, Urban continues to push it on. Like, in your mind, what's the secret to being successful in that game?
Man, I think it is. I've heard Urban speak on it like throughout this week. I've heard him on a couple of different things, and I joined him and Rob Stone and Mark Ingram on their podcast yesterday. And Urban, like, he embodies like the whole Michigan thing. Like, I know he didn't say Michigan. That was, people sometimes freak out if they hear us say Michigan. Like, that was kind of, Urban came in and kind of started that where they don't say M or everything, which I understand completely. I like how he did that as well. But Urban was saying, like, this isn't like the week. This isn't a game. This is a way of life. Like, every single day of the year, you're thinking about them. You're working on something for this team. And I used to think, like, oh, man, you're giving them too much credit. Like, we're not thinking about them all year. But now I understand, like, no, we're not, like, worried about them. We're planning. And we know if we do a little bit every single day of this year with you guys in mind, something trying to get better to beat you, then we're going to beat you more times than not. So I understand it, and I think it is a way of life.
All right, before we get you out of here, we've got a couple days left. You've got Thanksgiving up next. Any secrets to surviving Thanksgiving? Schlegel talked about the Quinn Hawk, the duel, people coming together.
Ooh, the Quinn Hawks, man, nothing better.
Quinn Hawks. What's the secret to surviving Thanksgiving?
We're trying to thrive, not just survive. You know, like, that's the old. I used to get mad in high school. Me and my brother we'd see people that they have shirts on said, "I survived Vikings 2-a-days" or whatever, and it's their high school shirt. I'm like, what? We're not sure. Like, I remember my coach seeing it and being so upset. Are we just trying to survive here? No, we're thriving. We are not just surviving camp. I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes, sometimes you do feel like you're just surviving, but I understand. Surviving though and thriving for our Thanksgiving. Hopefully nobody goes to the hospital. Hopefully nothing too big gets broken and there's no fires, because I think we're gonna have like 40, 50 people at our place. Yeah. I'm smoking a turkey. We got multiple other turkeys going in and a bunch of food, and it's going to be awesome, man. Get everybody together. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, can't wait. Well, AJ, thanks for spending some time with us. Excited to see you out there on Saturday. The Hawk soaring the sky with the little Hawks all running around, trying to wrangle those guys in. There you go. Should be very exciting, man. Thanks for spending some time with us. Enjoy it with Pat.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Can't wait to hear you on the call as well. It's going to be sweet.
We'll see. Hopefully I'll do a good job. Make you proud, Age. That's my goal.
Yeah, you will.
That is Mr. AJ Hawk. All right, before we get out of here, we got John Jansen up next, 11-year NFL vet, 50 straight starts at Michigan. But we'll tell you about X-Sport. Parents, athletes, protect what matters most with X-Sport mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. They're scientifically tested to help absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. X-Sport mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including the patented use of carbon fiber that they 3D print right onto your grill for more protection, better performance, max comfort, clear communication, so you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Go to exportguards.com/Bobby. Save 15%. Export, protect what matters most. John Jansen, Michigan, coming up next. I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool and doesn't taste like. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink garage beer. It's American and so can you. Garage beer, beer flavored beer. All right, Columbus, I want to let you know this. We're going to be big plays. Going to be bouncing around tailgates this Saturday before the Ohio State-Michigan game. Play some trivia with us. Get a chance to win some cheeseburgers presented by Swenson's. We'll have a full clip on Monday, December 2nd, right here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. Good luck. Hope to see you out there. All right, we're going to welcome in one of the legendary Michigan offensive linemen. Played 11 years in the NFL. You can now hear him on the calls for Michigan. Used to work on Sirius XM with him some as well. And battled him again in the NFL, longtime Redskin, and then finished with the Lions. We got John Jansen. Apparently, we got a little bit of issues here with his video, but here he is coming back in and excited to be joined by him today. We can get him. So he's a really talented player, 50 straight starts.
That's amazing.
Just remarkable dude. Just happy that he can take some time with us today. We had Jake.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, like, regardless of where you go, Bob, somebody that goes into a university, Michigan, Ohio State, Fick was kind of like this too, right? Same mentality. 50 starts is 50 freaking starts, man. Like that's that in and of itself. And then 11 years in the NFL, offensive lineman speaks for itself.
Absolutely. 11 years offensive line, 50 straight starts at Michigan, All-American, great player, phenomenal dude. On the call now for Michigan. Pleased to welcome in John Jansen. John, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. Sorry about the technical issues. Obviously, I'm in my truck, so it was bouncing back and forth. I think I got it figured out now.
And we appreciate it. I know it's a busy time of the year, but you're of our era where they had the game before Thanksgiving, which I always love because you got done and then you could enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. Kind of crams everything up this week with all the festivities.
Well, it does, but from a student-athlete perspective, the thing that I think is awesome is you don't have class this week. Everybody's off. They all get to focus just simply on the game. Obviously, you throw a holiday in there, and it changes things up, but I would always go back to the way it was in so many things in college football.
John, talk to everybody a little bit about this Michigan defense. We hear a lot about their defensive line. 6 sacks last week versus Northwestern, only gave up 11 yards rushing, 8 TFLs, coming on, have one of their better games of the year, 50 points. Down your number one starting corner. But tell everybody a little bit about what they can expect from this Michigan defense going against this Ohio State offense.
Well, it's a talented front seven. Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart on the edges. Josiah Stewart's been able to get home quite a bit. I think he's got 8.5 sacks so far this year. But the real talent is up front in the middle. You got obviously Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham. Mason Graham is just, I think it's a Nagurski Award and Outland finalist for both. He's had a terrific year. And they really started to come on in the second half of that Oregon game, a couple of weeks ago. Oregon, and then I think it was down in Indiana, and then getting ready for the Ohio State game or the Northwestern game. They really started to come on. If for Michigan to have success, those guys got to be good up front. They've got to be able to win one-on-one battles. The linebackers, Jay Shaw Barham and Ernie Hausman, they're talented. Their speed. Jay Shaw Barham is the best one in regards to like an NFL talent linebacker. He's a big dude. He's about 6'3". Runs like a deer, and he brings it when he comes on the blitz. The secondary, as you mentioned, like they've been banged up all year. Rod Moore they lost him during spring ball to an ACL. Will Johnson's been out for the last 6 weeks. I don't necessarily expect that he's back on Saturday. So a guy that's been all over the place, Zeke Berry. He started out at nickel, moved out to corner. There's some challenges in the secondary. They're going to have to use Makari Page and some of those guys on the back end to really support what they're doing, what they're trying to do. But again, it all gets back to you got to, against this Ohio State team, you're going to have to be able to drop 7 and win up front with 4.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about that defensive line. I think the second half of that Indiana game really showed what they were able to do, and it looked a lot like they did last year, although a little bit thinner and maybe not quite the depth that they've had. But what was really impressive, second half Indiana, and then really Northwestern, it felt like this offense, John, for Michigan started to find its stride and looked a lot more like the offense you saw last season. Maybe not airing it out, but throwing it effectively. But I saw the success in the run game, more of the multiple formations and some of that complex gap scheme running that was a calling card for the Wolverines under Harbaugh.
Yeah, a lot of gap scheme, a lot of traps, using Colston Loveland, Marlon Klein, a couple of tight ends, Max Bredesen. And Bobby, I think you'll love to watch him play. He is old school. He would have fit in our era. He's a fullback. And I mean, he caught 2 balls against Northwestern, and I think he's caught 1 ball the rest of his career. So he was jacked up. But you're right. The pass game for Michigan has been a struggle all season long, and it's been a quarterback issue with turnovers. It's been a receiver issue, not running the right routes, not being where they're supposed to be. But the biggest one has been the pass protection. Against Northwestern in the second half, they found a little bit of confidence, and it was really a lot of quick passes, not asking them to hold up in pass protection and running, a lot of deep routes. So if they can get some rhythm in the short passing game, take some shots when they're available, but allow that offensive line in those 3- and 5-step drops, they can treat it like a run block and just come off the ball. That's going to give them a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, talk to everybody about Loveland, because that's really kind of your third down guy. This game seems to be the teams that win first and second down, obviously on defense, are going to have a competitive advantage, especially Ohio State's defense versus Michigan. Again, I can't just make it quick, right? I got to get pressure on the quarterback. I got to throw it down the field. Is he going to be back? Like, where does he fit in this? I know the guy's been playing through injury all year. Absolutely love watching the kid. He's a really competitive dude. Where is he right now in that situation?
Well, I sure hope he's back. He has to be back, and I think he will be. I don't have any inside information to share with you other than, I've seen this throughout the course of my career where you've got a guy that gets dinged up earlier in the year. He missed the USC game, had a shoulder. In the first half of the Northwestern game, he finished the half, but there was a hit that he took where it kind of looked like he got up and it was favoring that shoulder. He continued to play. The game wasn't necessarily in hand, but I think we felt like we had good control at halftime. I believe it was precautionary that they held him out in the second half so that he would be available. He's the leading receiver for this team. He has the most targets, the most touchdowns. I mean, the offense really needs Colston Loveland. And when you're a 6'5" athlete like he is, and you can run block, and you can, you're just hard to defend in the secondary, they've got to have that target. Whoever the quarterback is, and obviously it's going to be Davis Warren to start, they need a big, reliable target that they can count on and find when things get crazy.
So, John, you had a lot of success in this game, obviously, and won a national championship in 1997. And I always think there's a lot of historical significance and parallels to being able to win this game regardless of era. What was the secret to being able to be part of some of those really successful Michigan teams, and then especially successful over Ohio State in the game at the end of the season?
Well, I mean, it's really hard to put your finger on, but those teams, like in 95 and 96, where we ended up 8-4, right? Nothing spectacular. Ohio State was number 1. It was really a matter of, we had to go into that game knowing that we couldn't make any mistakes, knowing that we had to play our best game of the year. And, in 96, down in Columbus, I think we were 17-point dogs, where, this year, I think it's 20 plus. But you've got to realize that when you go out in that stadium, there's not going to be anybody that you can look to for support except the guys on the sidelines. And when you have some good leadership from the sidelines and guys that have been in this game, where, like in my first year in 95, Joe Marinero, he was the guy that was playing right next to me. And I, growing up watching this game, it was a dream come true to be able to play in it. But at that first experience, you kind of almost lose your mind. You got to have some of those veteran guys that can calm you down, bring you back to center, and play with passion, play with emotion, but also play with control. And in this game, there's plenty of guys, not a lot of starters back on offense, a lot of guys with experience, and defensively, most of those guys played in this game the last couple of years.
All right, John. What does Michigan have to do in this game to get a win?
They can't turn the ball over. I mean, that is number one. And we're talking about the basics of football, right? So one, you can't turn the ball over. You can't give an explosive offense more opportunities. You can't give them sudden change and momentum. But offensively, they're going to have to find a way to have some sustained drives. If they can control the line of scrimmage and run the ball, even if it's not, if it doesn't end in points, the main thing is you can get a 5 or a 6 yard drive and end it at least with points with a field goal. That's a huge win. I'll take that early in the game, and hopefully they can get some confidence going in the second half, open up the passing game a little bit, but it's really going to be about time of possession, and just don't let Ohio State have the ball. Don't let that powerful offense on the field.
Yeah, it's kind of always it. And Jim Tressler used to always talk to us, the team that wins the rushing battle. I think you go back 25, 30 years, and over the course of history, it's pretty significant. So not turning the ball over, time of possession, obviously big in this as well. You're a guy that's from Michigan. I'm an Ohio guy. We had AJ Hawk on, Ohio guy. We had Jake Butt on yesterday, out of Central Ohio. And there's a lot more national recruiting today, John. I mean, by everybody. And maybe some of the regionality to the recruiting is gone. Do you think that that's impacted this rivalry at all? And if not, how has it maintained kind of the unique, special nature that it's had for the last 100 years?
I think it has a little bit where, I mean, you look at the rosters, right? And the bulk of the roster, or at least the most kids for Ohio State, are from the state of Ohio, the highest percentage. The same thing here at Michigan. You still have the highest percentage of guys from Michigan, but before it used to be, of 120 guys, you'd have 65 or 70 that were from the state of Michigan. Now it's probably 40, 45. And guys that are coming in, they come here because they want to be a part of this game. They want to play on a national stage. So they do somewhat understand it. But until you live it, until you breathe it, until you've played in it, I don't think you can ever fully grasp, even if you grew up in it. I don't think you fully grasp what it is to be in this game. And I think the biggest difference is we have more young guys playing. It used to be at Michigan where, I started my second year, but traditionally it was, not until year 3, maybe even year 4, and guys would be around 5 years. Now you got freshmen that are impact players. You got sophomores, and they just don't have the depth of experience in this game as much as guys used to have that didn't play until their 4th year.
All right, John, we've been talking about it. This is such a great game. So impactful in all of our lives. Like, we still carry the losses, whether you played or you coached in it. Like, it's just something that it is. What's your favorite memory from your games versus the Ohio State University?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. And, it is. God, I take that 98 game with me every time I lay down. It's my one loss, and it pisses me off to this day. And
that was your senior year, right?
Yeah, it's my senior year, and so I think about it like a missed block that I still want back, or a third down call that I thought was a crappy call, and I'm like, why did we try that? But I think of the victories, I'd have to probably go to 95 was great because Tumunga Biaka-Patuka just ran all over the place. And, at this time, those highlights come up. But it was really in 96 down there. Like I mentioned already, we were 17-point dogs. And then that one became a little bit sweeter because I've remained good friends with Big Cat. I've stayed close to Sean Springs. He was a teammate of mine in Washington. And, Bobby, this, the banter back and forth from NFL teammates. Some of my closest friends are guys that played down there, and it just that friendly rivalry back and forth. But probably the one play that I remember the most was, and I gave Sean a hard time. He apparently slipped when Ty Streets caught that touchdown pass, and it's just one of those things that you're never going to forget. Obviously, I'm way behind the play, and all I'm doing is making sure there's no yellow flag, so I don't have to run back and try and run another play. But to celebrate like that, it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's tremendous, John. We appreciate some time on this Wednesday. Excited to see you down in Columbus on the call. I'll definitely pop over and say hi in the press box. And 50 straight starts, man. I'm sure you're feeling it on days like today when that cold starts rolling through the Midwest.
You do a little bit, but then all of a sudden you start heading down to Columbus, and boy, everything starts to loosen up. You think you got it one more time.
Absolutely, John. Well, thank you, man. Have a great day.
Thank you, John.
All right, man. I'll see you down there.
Yes, sir. John Jansen, All-American in Michigan. Like he said, it's like the one he remembers most is the loss. And when it's your senior year, it's really, really tough to swallow. All right, coming up next, they had new rankings come out last night for the CFP. We'll break those down quickly here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
Building a home for the people who are worth it. Stepping out, throwing in a line, and dropping the tailgate for a picnic. And finding far-off campsites with the people you're closest to. Upgrade your truck, Jeep, or Bronco with over 1 million parts and accessories. And bring your truck to life. Real Truck.
Holy smokes. Very robust show, very robust week. Going to be off tomorrow. So if you're watching, please like, subscribe, leave comments, questions. We'll get to some of those as well here later today and on Friday. Cardinal Jones is going to join us on Friday, so very excited about that as well. Always remember the losses more than the wins, Schlegel. It's the brutal part of humanity. Yep. But they released a new college football top 25. Top 4 staying the same: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State. Then after that, some surprises. You saw Indiana fall to 10, Schlegel. When you saw that, when you saw them come out, fell 5 spots, feel about right? Too much? Too little?
My biggest thing is it doesn't even matter, right? It's about being in the playoffs. They're still in the top 12.
They have Purdue, so they're not going to get any bump from beating a team that's the worst in the Big Ten. So if they're not in the top 10.
Yeah, but you're going to have some attrition. You're going to have attrition. You're going to have attrition in there, right? So you have Miami, you have SMU, you got the Clemson, South Carolina game. Like there's some other things that are going on right now. You obviously got Ohio State right there, and depending upon what happens then you got the playoff or the conference championship games. To me, it's just, are they good enough to be in? The thing that concerns me the most is that Alabama just sitting there at 13. You got the Auburn game. How are they going to be viewed on this? Like that's, I guess when you say, are you concerned about that? That would be the concern. They're at 10. Alabama beats Auburn, who just beat Texas A&M. Do they jump in front, right? Like what happens with the Clemson? Then you even look at, where's the Big 12 in this whole situation, right? They're all the way down there, 16 and 18 and 19, and they're going to get a bid. So the biggest thing I'm focusing on though, Bob, is the Buckeyes. That's all I look about. That's all I look at, man. Just take care of your business.
Well, I think with a win on Saturday, Ohio State's either going to be in the 1 hole or the 5 hole at the worst. So you're going to need a home game or a bye. Ideally, you'd like to get a Big Ten championship, put some hardware in there as well. Oregon undefeated, really the lone. They are the lone undefeated team now. I believe.
Undefeated.
Yeah, they're the Highlander 1 of 1. Buckeyes will have a chance to play them for their potential. What would that be? 4th top 5 matchup game of the year.
Yep.
After playing Penn State and Indiana as well, with the rematch potentially looming. That A&M game, it's interesting because they play Texas. The winner of that game will play Georgia in the SEC championship due to all the attrition and everything else crazy that happened. It would be wild if they make that game, because I don't know how, if A&M makes the SEC championship, whether they win or lose. If they win, they're getting the auto bid, but if they lose, they'll be a 4-loss team at 9-4. But I don't know how you would leave out, I guess, a 4-loss team that played in their conference championship game if you believe the SEC is as good as what it's supposed to be.
Well, now that you even brought that up, right? Indiana in there, and you look at Miami's schedule. I think that's why you're kind of saying that and where they are. And it goes back to like everybody just talking about the SEC, and then you go back and you had Indiana that lost last week, and everybody is talking about how they view that. And I think the best way of, taking in consideration Indiana is that it wasn't Indiana's a bad team. It's just Ohio State is clicking on all cylinders and is an elite team. Like, you can't discredit them for the way that Ohio State played. Like, it's almost discrediting Ohio State in that perspective. But then to say, like, the SEC, again, they had all the opportunity, everybody playing, not somebody said this, bowl eligible teams. We did not say that. We said unranked teams. They were all facing unranked teams and got beat, right? So that's the parity. But, it would be crazy, Bob. In my honest opinion, you can't discredit somebody that goes to the conference championship game and loses. Like, they're the runner-up in the conference, so to speak. They lost that game, and now they have 4, right? Then you got South Carolina in there with 3 because they got Clemson this week. Like, where are they? Like, that, again, craziness. I love it. There's parity in college football. It's exactly what we wanted. We thought we had chaos with 4. You got way more chaos now with 12.
All right. That's our little college football nugget of the week. We got some other big stuff here in our headlines coming up because there's some things that have been thrown out in the Michigan locker room. Ryan Day talking about the game and what it means to him and whether they're ready. I mean, it's and how good is this Ohio State defense? Well, it's been stuff of legend thus far and could go down in history if they're able to take care of business on Saturday. We got all that for you coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. The way you feel. All right, welcome into our headlines, brought to you by our friends at Affinity Whole Health. Schlegel, Affinity Whole Health, they have customized treatment programs to help you feel better, whether it's muscle loss, weight gain, poor sleep, irritable attitude, not the energy you used to. Affinity's got a plan for you. So here's what you do. You go to affinityWholehealth.com, go check them out. You're going to go in there. They're going to get a workup, take some blood. What do you want to do? And listen, it's the holiday season. If you're thinking about adding on some extra pounds because you've been eating too much, listen, semaglutide will help you cut those cravings. You can put a TRT program in together with it so you hit the ground running in 2025. Don't wait till January. Make sure you get into it and get started right now. I've been a patient there for the last 7 years, and they are tremendous. So go to AffinityWholeHealth.com. They're in Columbus, they're in Cleveland, they're in Indy, they're in Chicago. They are there for you. All right, we're going to start off, Schlegs. Ryan Day.
Start off.
Talking about the game.
Yep.
We'll toss this up there. You want to know if they're ready. What does it mean to say this? To say that this team, these leaders, and those seniors want to win this game? That would be the biggest understatement of all time. And yeah, I love that Ryan has leaned all the way in on this. You can't run from it. He, I thought, has done a really appropriate job of signaling the significance of it and the importance of the game without trying to like overhype it and saying like, we've got to win this is this, but just saying, listen, we've worked on it all year. The guys know it. They came back for this. This is important. But then not sitting here dwelling on like, and not sounding like it's a desperate situation. When they ask how he feels, excited. And that's how I feel right now.
Yeah. I think what he's done, Bob, is like, they haven't made the statements we saw earlier in the year, like we're going to win a national championship and stuff like that, to where it's like Ryan saying, talk us about the Indiana team and all the hype, and they're really, really good. And he's like, so are we, right? Don't mistake like what we've done. But he also didn't say, "Oh, we got to go win this top 5 matchup because I'm whatever in it."
Because
He knows
the game. That's
he
why
knows
he
he has to win. That's exactly right. So in this one, I think that sometimes people forget all the different things that we do throughout the course of the year. I'm talking January, right? 340 something days till you play that team up north, and it's on the freaking clock in the Doomajink on the weight room, right? In the weight room.
In the weight room.
Don't worry about it. In the weight room. Yeah, it's a place. Pace, whatever. And anyways, we're doing push-ups and sit-ups, and guys we're running it back. Like, that's not appropriate.
That guy.
Right? Like, that's what it's about. It's the whole year to get to this point. You and I talked to Tress about that. It is important. These guys came back. You have a quarterback in Will Howard. He is a senior, but he's like, I want to win this game. Yes, but I want to win it for the guys that have been here. I want to win it for the guys that have come back. They know the significance of it, right? And so I love that to your point, Bob, he has done a really nice job of walking that line, everybody understanding what his guys are putting. It's always about the players, and that's what he's been making it about. And he's also been doing things, right, going on for 4th and 10 in that Indiana game. Like, Ryan is there to win. Like, it's like the governor is off. We're going to go win games. Trust my players.
Trust the dudes. They will get it done. All right. So there's one way to handle it, like Ryan's saying. They're ready for the game. They've been focused on this. Anything else would be an understatement of life. These guys came back for it. They've talked about it. Enough talking. We're going to come out and we're going to focus. And he said this process-oriented. Like, and this is one thing that Tress has always said, like, you focus on the process, the results take care of themselves. And trying to teach young people that, like kids, young players, they're like, I want to go win. You can't just get to the Michigan game and then say, we're going to go win it. It's winning it every day with your effort, with your consistency. All right. And so this is the other way to kind of handle it. Jermaine Matthews found this, and Michigan players out here. I would have you play the sound, but folks, it's too profane. Like, I don't want to be about that life. But say, some derogatory comments about Ryan Day, the Ohio State team, coming straight out of the Michigan locker room, Schlegs. And I love Jermaine Matthews' comment back to it. Nothing about, like, we ain't that. We're going to whoop you. Like, all these things. No, just noted. Noted. Like, checking it off. Jermaine is a Cincinnati dude. They got a number of Ohio guys that are on this field, and the guys who aren't, like, born here or from this region, like, they understand it. They do a good job talking about it. And is just noted. That's all you need to say. Like, post-it note, boom, on the wall.
I like how they put on there on this thing, it said, made a dog for real, right? Like, maybe that's what, like, I don't know. Maybe there's a crying emoji. We never had, honestly, I don't even know how you would talk smack, Bob. Like, we would have talked smack back in the day. I'd be sitting in my locker with a dip in, just be like, I'm exhausted. Like, I'm just trying to, I'm going to go get in the cold tub. I'll see you in film study the next week, and we're just going to prepare different nowadays. But Jermaine's handling it the right way. Our guys are handling it the right way. But it's also like the process that you talk about, Bob, process-oriented people. I tell this to kids all the time. You can't just go out there and flip the switch and automatically competitive excellence. It's something that is trained all year for this game, right? We want competitive excellence in the weight room. Ryan talked about it. The game does not care, nor does Buckeye Nation, nor do fans, nor does the other opponent. Like, you got to go win your one-on-ones. That's what we train for. This is just a side nugget. Noted, right? We'll put the pads on. But in this game, people have alluded to it. Those that can control the emotion, right? Play with great emotion, but also control it. Not getting a personal foul, stopping a drive and now being 1st and 25, right? But being able to play with emotion, but within your own emotion, that is critical in this game.
Absolutely. It's pretty big, and they've been doing it pretty bigly here for a while, Schlegs. And then lastly, Will Howard, not an Ohio guy, talking about coming out first thing, wants to do it for the rest of the seniors. Tress talked about yesterday, wanted to do it for his teammates, his head coach, Ryan Day, and everything that means to him. And important is this. And Ryan saying that some of the worst days in his life, the day his father passed and the days they've lost at Michigan. Speaking to the gravity. So Will Howard coming out and talking about, his time and experience in Buckeye Nation. And it's pretty remarkable for some of these transfer guys. We can throw that up, Pat, that, he comes out and said, I appreciate Buckeye Nation so much for taking me in. accepting me. I love this place, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And like, I don't believe that's lip service. I believe that that's authentically him and how he feels about his time here.
Yeah, Bob, I would say this from Will. Will came in, knew he needed to change his body, knew he needed to work, knew he needed to compete.
He was kind of soft, a little
right?
heavy.
But he had to compete for the position, right? Like there was a competition battle. Like that's all what Ryan wanted, right? I'm not giving anybody position. You got to go earn it. Seth, welcome in. Guess what? Carson Hintzman, you got to earn it. We're going to push each other. Competitive excellence. Will has embraced that. The older guys in that room, the Ty Leaks of the world and the Donnies of the world and the Friars of the world, right? The Denzels of the world, like, no, man, this is a +2, right? It's the culture rep. They named that, right? You got Will over there straining, spitting, right? Screaming. Like, I'm like, yes, like all in. That's how you know when somebody's going to be all in. They're going to strain, not for me, not because I'm their coach, not because they want to go play in the NFL, but for their teammate. Then you go look at just that buy-in, and then also to be able to say, man, I want to be coached. I want to be coached really, really freaking hard. Boom, you bring in Chip Kelly. You got Ryan Day, developed a 61% career, probably actually a little less than that, passer. Now he sets a school record individual season, I think career-wise, with 6 games over 80%, heading in the right direction, going in this game. He also understands, though, Bob, I had the fortune of being a transfer but having a year and being here for 3 years. He's come in and understands, 1, what the rivalry is, 2, why his buddies, his teammates came back, and the significance of that for his teammates and honestly all of the great state of Ohio. In Ohio, Buckeye Nation. Like, he understands that. You have to have your quarterback. You have to have your quarterback that understands that, and Will Howard does. And I love it.
All right, he does. All right, we got Tailgate Talk by Real Truck coming up next.
Get the most out of work, life, and all your outdoor adventures with top-selling upgrades for your truck. Guaranteed fit, free shipping, easy install, expert support, and thousands of dealers just a click away. Bring your truck to life. Real Truck. Upgrade today and save between $50 and $400 on select Real Truck products. Visit realtruck.com/specials.
All right, now we're in our Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. And listen, now through Sunday, December 1st, the Black Friday deals are on at Real Truck. All our folks out there, you can enjoy $400 off select bed covers and accessories. Bring your truck to life this holiday season like Schlegel and I have done. Log into realtruck.com /specials to enjoy and learn more. And listen, don't forget, if you spend $100, you get the sweet Real Truck hat, which I left in my house and I don't have with me at this moment. But spend $100, promo code Bobby, you get the Real Truck hat. So listen, don't wait. Get to realtruck.com. Get those Black Friday specials and deals now through December 1st. All right, Schlegs. We got some we were on talking a little bit. Ryan Day was on the Pat McAfee show. We broke down a little bit of it before. But Pat brought up some potential former dudes out there playing, and would they be able to help him? Let's toss that up there, Pat, and hear what old Pat McAfee and Ryan Day had to say.
The alumni here is crazy. Do you ever think about having like AJ Hawk, Bobby Carpenter, Schlegel and the boys put the helmets on and practice maybe on Thursday, thought it up with the boys?
I'm sure they would do that.
Yes, they would.
I heard AJ Hawk once put on a helmet against.
He did.
Yeah.
Ended my life.
Yeah. No, it didn't. Ryan, always great to have you with us. So gracious every time we visit here. And one final message before you go in the skull section.
Oh gosh, that was tremendous. I bet they would, Schlegel. What does that mean?
Yeah. That means we're gas station ready, Bob. That's what it means. Like, look, you ran 20 half gassers. You can run around. I'm only doing one period. It's called inside, right? And everybody on there has to sign a waiver because I have no governor when it comes to inside and thumping, right? But hey, it would be super fun. AJ looks great. We have to get his old helmet, protect his nose a little bit. You out there have the under front, boom, setting the edge. It would be fantastic. It would be fantastic.
I would love to do inside. I mean, I could probably do some 7-on, but my legs would get smoked. The quick change of direction, it's like you don't realize like how much that smokes your legs when you're not used to it.
I do. I mean, I'm 43. I was like, hey, I'm going to start training like a Buckeye. I'm doing change direction drills like the next day. Like my whole body's on fire. I'm like, dadgummit, why am I doing this? Because I need it. I need it.
Exactly. Well, you need it. It's there.
And when called upon, you and me and AJ can respond and give a great look.
Hey, you know what? Just here, service. Hey, people helping people, service leadership, Schlegel. Just do the very best you can. Here's the thing. You can hurt us because it doesn't matter because we don't have a game to play. I tell the guys, like, if I get hurt, it doesn't matter. Like, all I'm going to do is go ice this, and I got all year to get healthy and get ready again. So it would be fun. Love doing it. Those guys are got a couple good swings left, Schlegel, but I don't know how many left. And I'm glad Ryan was a good sport about it. And Pat throwing that out there for us was absolutely tremendous. All right, coming up, we have our guy, Anthony Schlegel, wrap up the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Get the most out of work, life, and all your outdoor adventures with top-selling upgrades for your truck. Guaranteed fit, free shipping, easy install, expert support, and thousands of dealers just a click away. Bring your truck to life. Real Truck. Upgrade today and save between $50 and $400 on select Real Truck products. Visit realtruck.com/specials.
All right, Schlegel, 30 seconds. What do you got for Thanksgiving?
Hey, 30 seconds, Thanksgiving. Hey, listen, everybody, you're out there, you're with friends, you're with family. You might not like any of them, but you invited them. Hey, just remember this.
That's a great line.
We all have something to be thankful for. Focus on that. Have an attitude of gratitude, right? Don't serve dry chicken or dry turkey, okay? Have a lot of games, have a lot of fun, make it memorable, create memories, but we always have something to be thankful for. Make sure you understand that. And guess what? At the end of the day, run the damn ball. Go Bucks.
Buckeyes locked in. We'll see you on Friday.